How do I get rid of visceral fat, belly fat? Visceral fat, also known as belly fat, is found inside the abdominal wall. Fortunately, there are effective strategies to help lose this belly fat. This video explains why visceral fat is dangerous, and we offer 10 proven, effective ways to get rid of it. Visceral fat is found in the abdominal wall and surrounds the internal organs. It is also possible to store subcutaneous fat just under the skin. This is fat that can be easily pinched from any part of the body's skin. Excess visceral fat is a serious health risk. Studies have shown that this excess is linked to a higher risk of type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance and heart disease. It is also responsible for the formation of inflammatory molecules and even some cancers. Why is it harmful? Fat cells don't just store excess energy. They also produce hormones and inflammatory substances. Over time, they can promote long-term inflammation and increase the risk of chronic diseases. Heart disease is just one example. Long-term inflammation of the arteries can lead to the formation of atherosclerotic plaques, one of the risk factors for heart disease. These plaques are a combination of cholesterol and other substances. They enlarge over time and may eventually rupture. When this happens, blood clots in the arteries and partially or completely blocks blood flow with a clot that can deprive the heart of oxygen and cause a heart attack. A theory called the portal theory also helps explain why visceral fat is so harmful. This theory suggests that visceral fat releases inflammatory markers and free fatty acids that travel through the portal vein to the liver. The portal vein carries blood from the intestines, pancreas and spleen to the liver. Thus, fats accumulate in the liver and cause hepatic insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Now that we've seen why it's imperative to get rid of that excess belly fat, here are 10 tips for getting rid of it. On this channel, we approach health from a global perspective by working on the 4 pillars of health: diet, physical activity, mind and sleep. If you are not yet a subscriber to the Top Fitness Health YouTube channel, consider subscribing, and if you want to be notified when a new video is released, consider activating the little bell. Here are the 10 ways to get rid of that visceral fat. A low-carb diet. Low-carb diets are effective in reducing visceral fat. In fact, many studies have shown that low-carbohydrate diets are more effective at reducing visceral fat than low-fat diets. In an 8-week study of 69 overweight men and women, scientists found that those on a low-carbohydrate diet lost 10% visceral fat and 4.4% fat than those on a low-fat diet. In addition, the ketogenic diet, which is a very low-carbohydrate diet, is extremely effective in getting rid of visceral fat. Ketogenic diets significantly decrease carbohydrate intake and replace it with good fats. This can put the body into a natural metabolic state called ketosis. A study of 28 obese or overweight adults found that those on a ketogenic diet lost more fat, especially visceral fat, compared to those on a low-fat diet. Interestingly, they ate about 300 more calories per day compared to the other group. Eat more soluble fiber. Fiber can be divided into 2 main categories: soluble and insoluble. The soluble form mixes with water to form a viscous gel. This slows the passage of digested food from the stomach to the intestines. When the soluble fiber reaches the colon, it is fermented by intestinal bacteria and converted into short-chain fatty acids. These fatty acids are a major source of nutrients for the cells of the colon. Interestingly, they can also help reduce visceral fat by suppressing appetite. For example, studies show that short-chain fatty acids help increase levels of peptide hormones, such as cholecystokinin. They may also help reduce levels of ghrelin, the hunger hormone. A study of 1,114 people found that simply increasing soluble fiber intake by 10 grams per day reduced the risk of gaining visceral fat by up to 3.7%. To increase fiber intake, eat more flax seeds, sweet potatoes, legumes and grains, and take soluble fiber supplements such as organic psyllium. Eat more protein. Protein is the most important nutrient for fat loss. Eating more protein helps fight hunger by increasing levels of the satiety hormones GLP-1, PYY and cholecystokinin. It can also help reduce levels of ghrelin, the hunger hormone. Studies have shown that protein can also boost metabolism, which promotes weight loss and visceral fat loss. In addition, many studies show that people who consume more protein tend to have less visceral fat. One study of 23,876 adults showed that higher protein intake was linked to lower body mass index, good HDL cholesterol and a slimmer waistline. To increase protein intake, try adding a protein source to each meal. Here are some excellent sources of protein: meat, fish, eggs, dairy products, legumes and of course whey protein. Limit the consumption of added sugar. Added sugar is very harmful. It contains no vitamins or minerals, and consuming too much of it can lead to weight gain. Studies have also shown that people who consume the most added sugar generally have more visceral fat. Added sugar contains 50% fructose, a simple sugar metabolized by the liver. In large amounts, fructose is converted to fat in the liver. This increases the accumulation of visceral fat. Therefore, eating less added sugar and fructose can be an effective way to lose belly fat. Case in point. In a study of 41 children between the ages of 9 and 18, scientists replaced the fructose in their diet with starch that provided the same amount of calories. They found that this simple change reduced liver fat by 3.4% and visceral fat by 10.6% in just 10 days. You can reduce your intake of added sugar by simply eating more whole foods, such as fresh vegetables, fruits, lean meats and fish. Reduce your alcohol intake. Drinking a small amount of alcohol, especially red wine, can have health benefits. However, drinking too much alcohol can be harmful to your health and your waistline. In fact, several studies have shown that excessive alcohol consumption promotes the storage of fat in the form of visceral fat. A study of 8,603 Korean adults found that those who drank the most alcohol also had the largest waistlines. Another study of 87 women found that moderate alcohol consumption was also linked to the risk of having more visceral fat. Avoid trans fatty acids. If there's one thing health professionals agree on, it's that trans fats are bad for you. They are artificial fats created by adding hydrogen to vegetable oils, hence the name, hydrogenated vegetable fat. Trans fats deteriorate slowly and therefore have a longer shelf life. This is why they are added to processed foods. However, studies have shown that trans fats increase visceral fat and cause many health problems. In one study conducted over a period of 6 years, monkeys were fed a diet high in artificial or monounsaturated trans fats. The monkeys on this diet gained 33% more visceral fat, despite a similar caloric intake. Get enough sleep. Getting a good night's sleep can have a positive impact on your health. Yet, more than 1/3 of adults do not get enough sleep. Studies have shown that a lack of sleep can increase the risk of visceral weight gain. Conversely, increased sleep helps reduce visceral fat. A 6-year study of 293 people showed that increased sleep reduced visceral fat gain by about 26%. In addition, several studies have linked sleep apnea to a greater risk of gaining visceral fat. If you have trouble getting enough sleep, try to relax before bed and take a magnesium supplement. If you think you have sleep apnea or another sleep disorder, it's best to see your doctor. Minimizing stress. Stress and anxiety are common problems that affect many people. They can stimulate the body's adrenal glands and produce cortisol, the stress hormone. Studies have shown that excess cortisol can increase visceral fat storage. In addition, ongoing stress can increase hunger and make the problem worse. Women who already have a large waistline tend to produce more cortisol when they are stressed. Some practical examples of how to reduce stress are to exercise more, try yoga or meditation, or simply spend more time with friends and family. Try probiotics. Probiotics are live bacteria that can be beneficial to gut and digestive health. They are found in supplements and foods such as yogurt, kefir, cabbage and natto. Some studies suggest that certain probiotics may help with weight loss and visceral fat. They may reduce the absorption of dietary fat in the gut, increasing the amount of fat that will be passed in the stool. Probiotics can help increase levels of the hormone GLP-1 and ANGPTL4, a protein that can help reduce fat storage. Studies have shown that certain probiotics from the Lactobacillus family such as Lactobacillus fermentum, Lactobacillus amylovirus, and especially Lactobacillus gasseri can help lose visceral fat. For example, a study of 210 healthy Japanese adults examined the effects of taking Lactobacillus gasseri over a 12-week period. This study found that people who took Lactobacillus gasseri lost an average of 8.5% visceral fat. However, once participants stopped taking the probiotics, they regained all of their visceral fat within a month. But beware, the studies did not show that all probiotics contributed to weight loss. In fact, some strains of probiotics, such as Lactobacillus acidophilus, can actually cause weight gain. Research in this area is relatively new, so future studies will help clarify the link between probiotic bacteria like Lactobacillus gasseri and visceral fat. Try intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is a popular method of losing weight. This diet consists of fasting for varying lengths of time, usually between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m., and eating for a short period of time. Unlike traditional diets, intermittent fasting does not limit a list of foods. It simply limits when you should eat. Following an intermittent diet generally results in eating fewer meals and, normally, fewer calories. Studies show that intermittent fasting can help you lose visceral fat by 4 to 7% over a period of 6 to 24 weeks. If you are not yet a subscriber to the Top Fitness Health YouTube channel, consider subscribing, and if you want to be notified when a new video is released, consider activating the little bell. See you soon for more videos. And until then, take care of yourself.